Let's get into it today. XRP is going to be on the front of the show. You guys don't want to miss it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into the show. Let's go at it. I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Salt Lending. This is a place where you guys can go out and lend against your Bitcoin. One of the cool things about Salt Lending is they have this thing called Salt Shield, which is a no liquidation solution, which is one of the biggest things that everybody's worried about when they take loans out on crypto. This is one of the cool things about Salt Lending. Of course, you guys can do that, unlock your wealth and the potential of your Bitcoin. The cool thing about Bitcoin that you have to remember, if you sell it, you're taking a taxable event. In this kind of scenario where you're lending against that asset, this is how rich people do it. So check out saltlending.com. Make sure and use our link down below. It does help the channel. All right, I want to bring back Mr. Evan Aldo in. We're going to chart some tokens today. Great to see you. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Man, it's a fun market right now.
Things are popping, a lot of news. Just so everybody knows, Evan and I agreed to do an altcoin portfolio for you. We will show it at the end of the video. I will say this, Evan has some good picks in there, so stay around for that. Let's get into the top of the news right now. That, of course, is the SEC and Ripple officially end their legal battle following the joint dismissal of appeals, also reduction of the fines. So they're going to put some more back in the Treasury. This is huge news. XRP immediately responded. ETF odds go skyrocketing. Tell me what you think is going to happen right now with XRP. What's the chart looking like?
It looks really good, Paul. So let's get our XRP right here. And the main trajectory that we're on, I think we could follow. The thing I like here over on the 2-day is you got your VWAP coming up. You got a nice green dot just crossing the zero line. Your money flow looks good. And I mean, as you can see the last time you compared to here, you got quite a bit of ways to go. So it's kind of really shaping up to a trajectory of hopefully within, a couple of weeks getting up to this $4, $4.20 to $4.50 mark, and then eventually to end the year $6 is the big mark that I'm hopefully looking for. And if we can hold 330, your technical target is right around, this pocket. So this pocket seems pretty likely for the next couple of weeks. I would expect some type of consolidation, some type of pullback over here, maybe a red September or something. But until then, let's just be excited because it's looking really good. Your money flows great in this hour. Everything looks good. So yeah.
One thing to consider around these catalysts that happen, obviously the news yesterday, big catalysts. Many people are looking at ETH going over 4K. We're going to chart that for you guys. But this ETF watch is what I'm more interested in. The numbers, of course, skyrocketed on Polymarket. We are now seeing upwards of 90% probability. I've talked to several analysts right now. The likelihood is going to happen. We got all these good things happening for XRP, and the fact that we've got a lot of different people out there that are going in this direction, whether it's Bitwise, Canary, 21 Shares. There's quite a few that are active. We even had the Van Eck, or talked to the Van Eck team before as well. So it's definitely something I think that is potentially the next step for XRP to maybe take another leg up. One thing is also playing into XRP. I want to play a clip for you, Evan. This is Caitlin Long about the banking license with Ripple. Take a look.
Is it frustrating to see all these other companies potentially leapfrogging the process, and you've been in this sort of limbo, as it were, for 5 years?
Ripple bought a company called Standard Trust Company. Under the law, you have to be a depository institution if you're state chartered, and they're not. And the banks will definitely sue over that one. I expect. They put in a Fed Master Account application in March. It was reported that they did it in June. I wasn't sure when Ripple said that it had applied in June. The data shows that they applied in March. If there were justice, and if there were rule of law, then we wouldn't be in this situation. They're all trying to copy the business model that we had.
Okay, sometimes companies are just too early. I've been in industries many times. It's not that they're wrong, it's just they were too early. Timing is everything when it comes to this, and I think it's just the situation that has happened around Ripple, what's happened with the administration. Unfortunately, it looks, I think it's a little salty for many of these people coming out and fudding many of these companies who are going to get banking license going forward. That'll be another catalyst, I think, for the next leg. Let's talk a little bit about this. That is David Sachs. Two important executive orders relevant to the crypto community. One was the Fair Banking for All Americans. Big deal. This will continue to push more, I think, people into crypto because now they're going to say, hey, yeah, it's safe, fully safe, no more worries. And then also access to alternative assets in investment accounts, 401ks. What do you make of this right now? People being able to put Bitcoin and ETH in 401ks. Do you like this, Evan?
Well, I mean, if we're pro crypto, who doesn't like, that possibility? It's obviously bullish, and all this info is, very bullish on the macro. I mean, does this, bring us up to new highs? Do we need this news to hit 150K Bitcoin or 7 or
Yeah.
8K ETH by the end of the year? No, but for the long term, it is very good news. So I like it. Yeah.
Well, I think some people would look at it, this is the professionalization of crypto, because now if you're going into structured capital, 401ks, the amount of money that's in that space right now, in terms of being able to turn on the spigot, I think it's also still a very conservative investor. And that would probably be the difference. The fact that it's available is great, because there are people out there much younger that are looking at a little bit more aggressive, because with your 401k, you can go aggressive, moderate, very conservative. So maybe we'll see that in the aggressive portfolios moving into that. When you look at, let's look at Bitcoin versus XRP. I want to see if that trade makes sense right now in comparison. How would you chart that?
Yeah, let's take a look. That's an interesting one to look at. A lot of the Bitcoin pairs here. And if we look at XRP versus Bitcoin, now, the first thing that is nice is that you have been doing very well since June, very upward and really very well since November of 24. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing here. And if we zoom out just a little bit here, this was a big place that, I marked out here. Now, if you go real zoom out, yeah, it hasn't done since the January highs not too well, but I think he got a good shot of breaking upward from this area and getting back close to, at least close to our January of 2018 highs against Bitcoin. So essentially, this would be a 1 to 200 outperformance of Bitcoin. I could see you probably need a $6 XRP for that, in my opinion, but
$6.
it's absolutely
Okay.
possible. Yeah.
Well, and that may happen, I think, with these catalysts kind of looming in. You've got the banking license likely to get done, whether it's early next year or late this year. You also have the ETF that possibly move it in that direction. Let's go to ETH real quick. Obviously, ETH, well, not obvious, but ETH now hitting the 4K mark, a very psychological number. Evan, you and I have talked about this number for quite some time. My belief is that this is going to be short-lived. We may see a little waffling here, but I anticipate we're going to see a much more aggressive Ethereum. What's your opinion right now on ETH in terms of the chart?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the chart would tell you kind of, and I mean, if you watch this enough, you're just like, it's got to break through at some point. First thing that I'm looking at here is not really, it's kind of like a certain type of Wyckoff pattern. Like normally you see Wyckoff with the bottoming out. This is more the opposite Wyckoff. And you get these 1, 2, 3, and then these 4 kind of tops here. Usually the fourth one, you eventually break upward, and this would bring you to a target right around my big goal, 7,300. Hopefully you see that October the earliest, December the latest, somewhere in that period. The other thing we can look at too is just look at this nice continuation sign over here on the 2-day. VWAP coming up, money flow still good. You could stay in the money flow for a while in previous times. I mean, right here is where you went. You had a nice run up in 2024. You also had a nice run up here and, later last year. So easily should be able to, repeat something of this nature, I would hope for, and get up to, into September, 5,500. I think you can make a new all-time high maybe within a few weeks here, that 4,900 mark. I mean, these moves could happen quickly. So, yeah.
What about trading against Bitcoin right now? Because many people are trying to figure out what asset do they go into. In comparison to Bitcoin right now, you look at the amount of shorts that were liquidated just in the past 60 minutes. I mean, this was a pretty significant amount. We'll probably see more starting to be liquidated around 4,100. What about ETH and Bitcoin trading against each other?
It's been bullish, Paul. Oh, yeah. ETH versus Bitcoin, I think, is kind of a no-brainer to go into Ethereum right now. As kind of you've seen, the first macro thing is you had this nice bottom here in the monthly here that was in May, and you've been upward ever since, similar trajectories, same bottom, similar area that we saw in 2018. So in all likelihood, you should be able to outperform Bitcoin into a few more months by at least 60%, I see here. So, another technical target here, out of this place breaking upward would bring you at least up to 0.04 here, which would be another 36% upward. I think ETH will outperform Bitcoin at least until October, or probably into the end of the year. So very bullish on this evaluation. I think it's kind of a no-brainer right now that ETH will continue to do better against Bitcoin, especially with monetary policy. And you'll see the first rate cuts coming.
Yeah, September, I'm guessing rate cuts for sure based on our job situation. We're going to get into that real quick, but before I go into a clip from Trump, you look at the trade in the market right now, whether that would be ETH or XRP. Someone's jumping into the market, maybe they're watching the show for the first time, which if you're not subscribed, make sure and subscribe right now. Would you play the XRP card or would you play the ETH card today?
I mean, if you think we're going to see an altcoin season, like an official altcoin season that we haven't seen since 2021, the answer would be XRP. Okay. I think that you may have to wait to see XRP outperform ETH for a few more weeks, maybe officially wait till September even for that monetary policy. But if you look at Ethereum versus other, now I have it right here, it topped out in the 4-year cycle August of 21, so we're almost there. So if you want to play that card, I mean, potentially it could be an XRP thing. If you look at XRP versus ETH, though, that's a little bit you're rejecting from that point. So it's tough to say. I do think that XRP will bleed a little bit more against ETH, maybe for another few weeks, maybe for a month. So yeah.
One thing, though, to consider is the macro effect, because there's many people that are looking at the jobs data. We're looking at the rate cut potential. This is all going to affect real estate. Then you're getting into a global macro effect with the ECB, as well as banks around the world starting to cut rates. I want to play a clip for you because this is Trump on the jobs data. This will, I don't know if you guys will understand completely. I'll explain it in a minute, but take a look at this.
I saw this today. I'd like to ask Steve maybe to discuss a few of these numbers that were just released. I mean, literally just released.
I called the president because I had some very good news from some new data that we've been able to put together. He did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Mr. President, that's a gigantic error.
I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
You may well be right. We have access to the some data that no one else does, and this is based on unpublished Census Bureau data. It's already up $1,174. That's a huge,
an incredible number.
Yeah.
Just came out, and if I would have said this, nobody would have believed it. There's your number.
And that compares with Joe Biden. So, Mr. President, you gain 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden is because of your policies. If it had not been for COVID, these numbers would have been substantially better. Over almost 8,000 until.
Look at that number.
Yeah. The red is President Trump. The blue is President Biden. It was President Trump that reduced income inequality.
These numbers just came out, by the way.
You can see every income group did better under Trump than Biden. That's the story.
This is great. Right here. All new numbers.
Okay, guys, you can tell the kind of editors we have here, I think. But the point I'm getting at here is, does this even matter anymore? Does this stuff even matter? We're getting jumbled data coming from all places, from the bureaucrats that are out there running this thing. Does it even matter? Do you just need to stick our head down and invest in digital assets? Anything that you think is going to hit the market here, Evan?
I don't know. I feel like watching that, it makes me want to get more, think that unemployment's going higher, which would make me think monetary policy is going to print more money, which would be theoretically good for digital assets. I think at this point, I mean, with the gig economy and everything, unemployment numbers are kind of just
a little mushy at best. Yeah, a little mushy at best. Well, and I think that's the issue, whether you believe it or you don't believe it. One thing it is going to affect, and that is how the Fed's going to react. Because if you look at what's happening on Bank of England, they already cut 3 times in 2025. Now there are analysts calling for a 50 basis points. I've been out there on Twitter talking about that very same thing. I still believe July should have been the cut, but it's too late for that. We are now dealing with a situation. Do you think we're going to see a quarter point, or do you think we'll cut in September? Do you think we're going to get a cut?
I'm a numbers guy. I would go with the betting odds. They're very high of a 25-point basis cut. So I
Okay.
think we would need something major to happen to change that. So odds of them cutting, I think at least 80, 90%. 50 basis points, possible, but I think we would need the S&P 500 to really pull back in that amount of time, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue right now. This is an interesting analysis on how the market might respond to this, because even if we don't get cuts in September, or we get cuts that are maybe a little bit different, the Fed power, their power lies in the ability to control interest rates as well as expand and reduce the balance sheet. Okay, no problem. However, the main source of power is simple. It's their ability to provide guidance. And if we get into a scenario where there is a shadow chair, meaning that there's a positioning within the governors that will essentially eventually be the ones who are going to cut for this administration, do you think that the market is already pricing in this phantom Fed chair?
To a certain extent, yes, but you don't know who if the Fed chair is going to do exactly what everyone thinks he's going to do. I mean, people thought Powell would have cut rates a ton more by now, and he hasn't. I mean, it's hard to predict exactly what someone's going to do like that. So I think everything gets factored into a certain extent, but there's always variables, and depending on how S&P 500 does, depending on inflation numbers, there's so many moving parts. So only to a certain extent.
I'm on the sense that the market is already pricing in some of these potential cuts, and that they're looking at the phantom Fed chair as forward thinking, as this is still going to be a positive market going forward. But I am a little bit skeptical as to whether or not we start to see a market correction. And what I mean by that is real estate considerably overpriced, even with the fact that we have high interest rates. How that responds to lower interest rates will be interesting to watch, which could push us into a different, macroeconomic situation in 2026, which will keep you guys abreast of all that. Let's talk about SWE. SWE has gone Swiss bank grade level now, so they're fully integrated into Sygnum's regulated banking platform. This is going to be everything from custody, trading, staking, treasury services for institutional clients. All this now, big deal for the SWE network. When you look at SWE right now, because it's been trading up and it's one of our picks, has been for quite some time, would you go into SWE right now, or would you let it run?
Yeah, I mean, if I already own SWE at this point, I would probably just keep it as a hold because I'm looking for these higher numbers. I mean, it depends how much I have. It looks really good right now. So if I had a very small position, maybe I would definitely add a little bit to it. Reverse head and shoulders, very traditional TA would tell you that you got a good shot of hitting my eventual high target at $7.50. So a little under a double at least. And I mean, if all goes well, I could see this at $10. I could see this as a $10 coin. So yeah, I mean, it looks really good. Overall, macro looks good. A little consolidation here, but I think you should generally be bullish. So yeah.
All right. Well, good. I like it. Bullish on SWE. Do you like a price point by end of year?
The $10 is $7 to $10. Yeah, the $7 I think is very likely. $10 you'd need everything to kind of go really well.
Yeah, come into play.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, they've got a lot of announcements that they're going to be coming up. We're going to have a SWE and Miston Labs team on, I think, next week to talk about some of the advancements. So hopefully we'll be able to break that out for you guys to give you guys some insights on what's going on that platform. Hey, listen, Evan and I put together a altcoin portfolio, and this was something that we decided to do. And I said, Evan, I'm gonna bet on you, and I said I'll put 100,000 into this portfolio. This is what we built. So we went back and forth on quite a few, but primarily this is where we are right now. The whole portfolio is up around 3.8% right now on the 24. But I'm going to go into some of these. Your position right now, 20% holding on Ethereum is our lead dog. Then, of course, we have Solana, Arbitrum, and I want you to tell me which one of these you want to chart. So I've got Solana, Arbitrum, Injective, Avalanche, which we also put in this, and I'll show you guys the blend in the portfolio here in a second. Then we go to Tau, Link, Aave, Jupiter, which was a conversation Evan and I had about that, Pudgy Penguins, which I added to the portfolio. Evan did not call that one, so if it tanks, it's my fault. Uniswap, Hedera, Cardano, Aldo, SWI, and then Near and Kronos. Okay, we've got Kronos in there as well. So this is the portfolio as it is right now. We may add to this. I'm going to see how it does in a minute. And then I may go take a loan out on my Bitcoin and put it into this portfolio right here. So, Evan, out of those right now, our performer, of course, is ETH right now. That's the top dog. If we look at our percentages right here, just to give you guys, I'll zoom in on that for you. And you can kind of see there's our mix, 20% on ETH. Solana's holding at about 8.5. Arbitrum, Injective, Avalanche. We're sharing this. Again, this is not financial advice, guys. This is what Evan and I do. We kind of work on this thing together. But we're going to see how this plays out in altcoin season. We may add some to it. What do you want to chart out of this list?
Oh, man. AVAX or Chainlink are the two that, probably Chainlink. If we break upward on Chainlink, which I think we are, our next target for this double bottom here would bring us all the way back up to $30. I think Chainlink's at least a $30 coin. If you could break above there, then you're kind of up with all-time highs up to $50. Then towards the end of year, $80. Macro looks really good. So my main guess here, my main view is that, educated guess, I should say, something along these lines, and it could be very quickly. I'm looking at $50, like a 2 to 3x at least if things go really well. $80. You know, I want to show you AVAX real quick too. This one I think is easily a $30 coin as well in the portfolio. So you know, a lot of potential for both of these right here. So yeah.
All right, and Evan, if Chainlink hits 50, are we selling it?
It depends what month. If it's in October, maybe. If it's next week, no.
Okay, so we're going to be grooming this portfolio as we go, and we'll announce our sales here on the show, what we're doing. If we can do it, we may do it in the week. Sometimes Evan's not on here till the end of the week. You know, for market position, we may do that in the middle of the week. Again, this is not financial advice. No, we're not telling you to go out and buy these altcoins, okay? This is absolutely not doing it. In fact, you will get wrecked if you do this. I'm willing to lose this. This is my bet on Aldo as one of my guys I trust out there when it comes to trading altcoins.
Anything can happen, but I don't think you're going to get wrecked.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Anything can happen. This is an investment that could go. All right, guys, there you heard it. We're going to break it all down for you. If you're not, first of all, if you haven't visited Evan's channel, go over there. Evan Aldo over on YouTube. Over 20,000, we have done it. He is there.
20,000.
We're going to our next level, all right? We need 21,000, so we're not asking for a lot, guys. We just need another 800 subscribers right here, right now. Thanks again for coming in, Evan. It's been great seeing you. Take care.
Thanks so much, Paul. Always an honor. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right, so you guys, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, get into that right now. It's our own private group. It's an email that we send out to you. It has more research, a lot of that, and also you can join our Telegram group. We leave a link always down there. There's only one, so don't get scammed, and I think there's all kinds of different ones. There's one Telegram group. And of course, follow me on X, @Paul Barron. I'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.